Hello, before we jump into it, we just want to say that this episode does lightly chat about abuse and sexual abuse from about the 37-minute mark to about the 40-minute mark. So if you'd prefer to skip over that, please do. Otherwise, enjoy the episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of WTF AuDHD with late diagnosed sisters Ellie and Paige. We were diagnosed late.
And we're here to educate.
Yeah, and on today's episode, we're going to be chatting about people-pleasing and boundaries when it comes to...
Sorry, what are they?
Yeah, exactly. Great question. We want to chat about, why people-pleasing becomes such a big coping mechanism for autistic and ADHD people. Therefore, why we find it really hard to set boundaries, and then why we end up losing our identity as we get older and masking becomes even more so.
We don't even realise we're doing it. It is so inherent, not inherent because that says that we're born with it. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
Because you're born with ADHD or autism, and therefore it's like a manifested behaviour. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I find it so hard to control.
Yeah, me too. And I also have got to the age of, I'm 33 now, but I reckon it's only in the last sort of 12 to 18 months that I've started feeling my own instinct and my own value and my own identity and my own expression. I feel like it's the first time in my life, the last 12 months, that I've actually been expressing myself again. Like actually expressing who I am deeply. I think I've suppressed that for so long, but again, didn't realize I was doing that. And a lot of the time it was out of making others feel less, making others feel more comfortable at the sacrifice and detriment of me.
Yeah.
And I think it's really common with ADHD or AuDHD autistic people. So we're going to chat about that and our experiences, and maybe you'll relate to it, and maybe you'll walk away from this episode feeling a little bit less shit about yourself. And maybe you'll go away and start feeling or doing things to try and drop the mask, put the boundaries in, and stop a little bit of the people pleasing. But it is trauma and it's a coping mechanism and it's really hard to undo. So we're going to chat about that.
Yeah.
Yes, cheers.
No, I had something to say, but I feel like I'm trying to jump the gun. Like I want to say stuff, but we're trying to tickle the balls,
we're just
introing, and then we'll get to the good shit.
Nice. I just want to jump into our Reddit. Of course, you can join that in our link tree. We've got a link to the Reddit. We've also got a link to our new Discord that has opened up. If you want to join either or both, come on over. It's just a place for people to chat and connect and hang out. Someone posted in the Reddit saying episode 45, movement and dyspraxia. So that was our last week episode with Bailey. They said, I was so happy to see someone talking about dyspraxia. I was always the clumsy kid growing up, banned from certain chores, plastic cups, constant sprains. I'm 37 years old and I still get stopped from doing things like DIY, moving heavy furniture, or even walking on rocks on the beach when on holiday because I'm just so damn clumsy. I've literally sprained my ankle, stood still. I have days where I literally cannot touch a single thing without dropping it. Always fun when you wear contacts, makeup, or have hair to style. I can only drive an automatic car because changing gears and everything was too much to deal with, and I could never quite grasp it. I relate to the manual. I found it really hard to drive a manual. My parking is atrocious because judging distance is a huge problem for me. I have a friend like that who really can't park, and when we were at university, we didn't know she was dyspraxic at the time, but we thought it was funny, which is so bad. But we used to kind of laugh because our friend couldn't park properly. We're like, how the bloody hell are you not parking in a rectangular park with a square car? But now we've learned that she was dyspraxic, and I feel awful for laughing. But that's just another example of like us laughing at people when they've got issues they're dealing with, but it's invisible to us and even to them. It's hard. You just don't know. The proprioception issues that go along with autism and ADHD and hypermobility just add to it all. Loved hearing that someone has it and was able to become a personal trainer. Gives hope to the rest of us. So thank you for that feedback. I really, really appreciate that, and I'm sure Bailey will appreciate that feedback as well. We loved that episode with Bailey. We thought it was really, really valuable.
Yeah. And
we want to interview more people with other neurodivergent conditions like OCD and stuff in the future so we can learn more about them, not just ADHD and autism. Mm-hmm. So thank you for contributing that in our Reddit. Also, another person posted in our Reddit, which I thought was really nice advice, and it was kind of off the back of our perfectionism episode, which was the week before. She says, some advice I learned a few years back that's helped me with perfectionism. We're always told anything is worth doing. We're always told anything worth doing is worth doing well. But no, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. It's important to brush your teeth, but if 2 minutes seems impossible, 30 seconds is better than nothing.
Oh, yes.
Fresh air is good for you, but if going for a walk is too much, standing outside your front door for 5 minutes is better than nothing. Doing it badly is better than not doing it. I could not agree more.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful advice. Once you've done it badly, it's easier to improve on it next time. You just have to start.
Yes, and when we have these parameters imposed on us by society, like you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, people like us feel so shamed because we really struggle to do it at that level because of executive functioning, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So then we end up just not doing it at all.
Yeah.
This is why we turn into an all or nothing. Like literally do what works for you.
Exactly. And I think the irony, I've kind of mentioned this before, is that us autistic people and ADHDers, we are very impressionable. We are trying to look around and mimic what everyone's doing around us. So when we hear you've got to brush your teeth for 2 minutes, our brains take that quite literally. And then we go, oh, I haven't done 2 minutes. I've done a minute 59. It's not good enough. And it just, I think people who are not neurodivergent aren't as impressionable. They kind of just like go with the flow. But we're too busy trying to mask and fit in that we really take those social rules seriously. We don't think that they're very serious, but we take them seriously to try and fit in.
And then we shame ourselves when we can't or struggle to keep up with them. Exactly. Like to try and keep up with the norm because we already feel so not normal, but like what even is normal?
Exactly. So thank you for those contributions. And again, thanks to everyone who's joined the Discord so far. We've got a whole bunch of channels in there that you can just come and chat about different things. People have been sharing heaps of photos of their pets. So there's just dogs and cats in here. It's so cool. And then we've got media and memes as a channel, so we can just share funny memes with each other. So yeah, come along and join. Link is in the link tree, and I'll put it in the bio of this episode. Also, we just want to thank you all once again for voting for us for Listener's Choice at the New Zealand Podcast Awards recently. We didn't win it, but we know that you were voting, and we really appreciate the time that you took to do that. There's huge competition in the world with podcasting, so we didn't necessarily expect to win it, but thank you for supporting us.
Thank you everyone who actually took the time out to do that for us.
Really
appreciate it. Thank you for being here and being part of our community.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Also, at the end of the episode, I'll talk about it a bit more, but I'm going to start taking expressions of interest for next year, because I would like to offer potentially sessions with you individually online where I basically can be your mentor, or we can chat through pre-diagnosis or post-diagnosis. I'm not a therapist, but I've got a lot of lived experience, and I think...
arguably, I know you're probably not going to say it, or you were going to say it, but arguably I think that that's more valuable than someone who's a psychiatrist who doesn't know what it's like to live with it.
Yeah.
And hasn't been through the struggles that you've been through. I think being there and now knowing what it is, you have such more of a direct...
Yeah, like a real life.
Your real life experience where people can actually relate to you.
Totally. So yeah, I think that having this podcast is awesome, and we can reach you, but I want to offer, if people want one-on-one kind of time, I want to be able to offer some time next year for people individually. So I will have a link in the bio and in our link tree where you can express your interest. I'm kind of first of all just keen to see who's keen, what you might want to get out of it, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, link in the bio for that one. But anyway, today we're chatting about people pleasing and boundaries. And this is something that I didn't even really realize I was doing. Well, you know what? At primary school, I remember sitting around the dining room table, because our family would always have dinner at the table, which was very wholesome.
It's wholesome now looking back at it, but at the time I used to freaking hate it.
Yeah, I used to think, why do I have to sit here and
eat and I'm just bored and get grilled about what I did at school or didn't do at school.
That's the thing. Some of those, I in hindsight, love the table dinners, and I'm glad we did them.
I'm so glad.
As an autistic person in particular, and an ADHD, when you're getting questioned constantly at dinner, which is just your parents taking interest.
They just wanted interest, but we took it
it could be quite a demand, and you're just I'm just exhausted. I just want to eat my dinner, and
I
have to talk to you about this.
I don't know, Mum.
Yeah,
I don't know. How's this? Oh, fine. Poor mum and dad. Oh my God, it must be such a common experience of parents that go just with children in general. But then I think with us, being neurodivergent, like the PDA, they're just also people. I'm not mute, but I was a little bit when I was a kid. I wasn't, but I was very selective with when I spoke.
I think when there was more demands on you, the more you shut up.
Withdrew. Yeah. So even I'm just I don't want to talk. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, Mum and Dad. We do love you, but
and now I appreciate it. And Mum and Dad, we used to have breakfasts as well before school. That was actually quite hectic.
Yeah,
Dad would get up early and make us poached eggs on toast, and we'd sit together and have breakfast together for half an hour. And now looking back, that was so special. And at the time, it was just
Yeah, to be honest, I quite liked the morning one. I didn't mind a morning debrief, getting ready for the day. It was at night when I was exhausted and I just couldn't be bothered. But very lucky to be sitting at the table. But a lot of the chats sometimes would be mum and dad saying to me, Ellie, you need to stand up for yourself. I'd be talking about an interaction at school or whatever, and they would always clearly be saying, Ellie, why are you not just saying how you feel? And I used to say, I can't. I don't know how to. I can't. And this was me really young identifying that, but not realising what it really was. And I could never quite unpack it. My parents, I don't think, fully realised how chronic my people-pleasing actually was. Yeah.
Just like, I mean, we've never spoken to mum and dad about this, but it's quite ironic because mum and dad are the biggest people-pleasers.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, mum and dad, I think you guys are the most biggest people pleasers ever. So I'm not saying that it's your fault or anything.
No.
But it's
the apples don't fall far from the tree. Yeah. No. Now that I'm older, I realise that my dad is a very big masker.
Yeah.
Mum's a masker too. Mm-hmm. And they are quite people pleasing.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older and I can see it. And that's why everyone, like, people love our parents and like, they're great. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But I think...
everyone loves our parents. And we kind of like look at it now at like a very analytical point and we go, obviously they're amazing people, but like, because they're always
gassing everyone else up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've had this issue since I was very, very young and didn't really fully identify it, didn't realise that I was actually not setting boundaries for myself. I wasn't, you know what's funny though? Sometimes if I was really principled on something, I did have good boundaries and I did have I didn't give in to peer pressure.
Generally when it wasn't to do with you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I could say it's 14 when everyone's drinking, say. I could say, no, I don't drink alcohol and be very firm on that and not even feel like I'm being uncool. Like I didn't really care about that kind of stuff, but it was when it was to do with me and me feeling as though I'm going to put someone out if I say no to them.
Yes.
Which is
whereas that's not putting anyone else out, you not drinking. So anything like that, but if it was anything to do with feeling like you're putting anyone out.
Yeah, which I think a lot of the time is made up in my head.
Yes.
I'm not actually putting them out.
No, so a lot of neutral situations I interpret as a negative.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to react in a certain way and I think that they're going to feel a certain way and feel this or feel that. And I realise now, looking back at things, a neutral response, I would interpret it as like a negative.
Yeah,
but it was only neutral.
Yeah, 100%.
That even comes down to facial expressions.
Yeah.
I will take a neutral face expression from someone that's not like smiley and go, oh, they're not happy and positive. They must be mad at me.
Yeah.
But really, they're just chilling.
No, exactly. I think that's RSD, and that's the ADHD RSD in particular coming in, where we're just so aware of any change in our environment that might be a perceived rejection, and then the people pleasing gets worse.
I've been unpacking this with my therapist about neutral facial expressions, and then she'll be like, "So, how do you know that they were, angry or like, well, their demeanor changed, blah blah blah." Anyway, we've been unpacking that, and it's just so interesting, just that. I don't know. It's just like how hyper vigilant I am to everyone else's behaviors, facial expressions, tones, and we're very like pattern recognizing.
Yeah.
So like I do notice how a person generally talks, how they usually act, and I notice these patterns, and I notice when it doesn't quite align with what they're usually like, and so I instantly think like,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Crazy.
So like, often the ADHD side is to do with RSD, wanting to just fit in, not annoy anyone, not make a big deal, not be too loud, not be too, constant suppression of self. And then also with the autism side, when you struggle to identify emotions like alexithymia, or you have interoception issues, which is like recognizing hunger or just physical needs, we're not very good at identifying them anyway. So if someone asks us to do something, we don't even know where the boundary is. Like, we don't actually even know if we're feeling hungry or if we're feeling, that's probably not the right thing, but like, we don't know what we're actually feeling until even days later.
Yeah.
So we'll do something in the moment to appease and please, and then we'll have a meltdown 2 days later and realize that we're really angry about it.
Yeah.
Because in the moment we couldn't quite identify how we really felt, so it was just easier to make everyone else happy for now.
I freeze and fawn completely, and then it's not till later where I go, actually, I don't like that, and then my justice sensitivity will kick in, and the resentment will build, and I'll be fucked off, ruminating, and it's just it's hell in here. And then masking. This is actually one of the biggest ways masking manifests is people pleasing and suppressing yourself, mirroring other people, complying to other people, suppressing your own needs, doing anything to avoid being the one that sticks out like a sore thumb or is difficult or like conflict.
blah, blah, blah. So then, masking for me, a lot of my masking is fawning, freezing, people pleasing, and not setting boundaries. And so I would put myself out and at the bottom of the hierarchy in everything, and it's school and uni, and to the detriment of me in hindsight.
Even just an example the other day at work. This is such a small example, but this goes for like a lot of things. So like we had some cookies delivered to work, and we'd all had one. They were really delicious. And then at the end of the day, my coworker came over, and there was 6 left. There's 6 of us in the office. And we were about to leave. She's like, we've got 6 cookies left. Like, you take one. We'll all take one home. And I was like, I'll go last. And she's like, what? And I was like, you can let everyone else choose, and then I'll have the last one, whatever's left, because they're different flavours. And she was like, just choose a cookie. And like, even just down to that, like, why do I put myself down on that lower hierarchical level and go, I don't deserve to choose first. Let everyone else choose. And then both of them, 2 girls at the same time, almost in sync, were like, just choose the fuck cookie. And then I was like, okay. And even that felt like I was taking away from others, even though it was not. It's just, you know. Oh, anyway.
I do. And I think that comes again from years of being suppressed as yourself. We always, especially ADHD side, get made to feel like we're too much. So we're constantly trying to shrink ourselves to make sure that people don't feel inadequate, or that I'm overpowering, or I don't want anyone in the office to go, oh, Paige took the best flavour.
I know.
Like, I don't want that people talking about me like that. Even though, to be honest, if someone said that, who actually cares? Like, when you really break it down.
Yes, when you actually break it down.
It's one thought that's going to not be thought about ever again. But we're so heightened and so traumatized by years of kind of being...
Rejection.
Rejected, exactly. We can also struggle with boundaries because that just involves executive function. Being able to sort of like understand a structure or a process of something, and then... Again, in the moment, I freeze and I don't actually know what I feel, and so I'll just appease, and it's not good. And then, as we've just kind of mentioned, we've got the trauma and the misdiagnosis and not knowing what we had our whole life, being told we're too sensitive, we're too much, we're too this. So then you get taught to suppress your emotions, suppress how you feel, don't tell people what you're actually feeling. I think one of my biggest ones for me is actually just not telling people how I actually feel. Because one, I struggle to identify it myself, but secondly, it's fine. I can deal with my feelings. I don't want to make you feel shit because of my feelings. Oh.
No, that's,
But then the irony of not having boundaries when you are neurodivergent or AuDHD or whatever is that we actually probably need to set boundaries more than anyone because of the needs we have and the overstimulation we can experience and all those kinds of things. We ironically probably need to set the most boundaries, but we lack the ability to do so. Which just ends in years of mental health issues and stress and, strained relationships and stuff like that. I was definitely, as we've talked about, the easy kid. And so, like, for me, even though that meant my childhood was reasonably smooth sailing, I became used to being easy, if that makes sense, that I never wanted to not be easy. So then I'm always just, you go, you do this, I don't mind.
That was so tied to your identity that you are the good girl, and that's such a older sibling thing too, girls particularly. And so it'd just be the end of the world if Ellie was ever in trouble, or so you just try everything to not be in trouble again.
Exactly.
Whereas for me, I was like, fuck yeah. Normal.
And then a lot with that came a lot of trauma for you too.
Both.
And suppressing and exactly. I also was told, you're so mature for your age, Ellie. And again,
I feel like so many older sibling girls are told this, and it's actually really freaking detrimental.
It is. I internalize that so badly that I think I have to live up to that. And you know what I'd say is I think a lot of the people who are told they're mature when they're younger end up being quite immature when they're older. So like I feel like I was really mature for my age at 18. 100% I was. Now at 33, I don't think I'm very mature for my age in some ways. Like I think in some ways I'm very mature, maybe emotionally, maybe intellectually, maybe. But then I think a lot of the time I'm not very street smart. Like I'm not very... I almost feel like people are starting to surpass me in terms of, I don't know, being an adult. I don't know how to explain it.
That's quite common though, with neurodivergent people. We're quite mature for our age, and then I feel like I'm nearly 31. I feel like a freaking child. I feel like a child, and like I've been like at work, say I'm the oldest one there, and I do not feel like the oldest one there, apart from the boss. But I don't feel like the oldest one there. These girls are like 6 years younger than me, or some of them, and I just feel like I'm like less mature. Anyways, like
I always weirdly don't know why. I always assume everyone else is older than me. Whenever I go into like any work environment or whatever, and then I find out they're 5 years younger than me, and I'm like, oh my God, why did I think they were 35? I don't know why. It's not even the way they look. It's like I just assume that they are above me in terms of age, hierarchy, anything. Some signs that you might be people pleasing and you may not even know it, or it's being detrimental and you don't even realize it, is just saying yes immediately to anything and then like regretting it, or finding that you're always agreeing to stuff and then going, oh man, why did I say yes to that? Feeling responsible for other people's emotions. I definitely have that issue.
I have that issue too.
Like I will walk into a room and make sure that everyone else feels good, because at least if they feel good, then I'll feel good, because I'm an empath and like I can feel emotions really intensely. So if you feel responsible for other people's emotions, that might be a sign that you're, again, people pleasing.
Or that like you walk into a room and you feel so responsible that you feel like you're the cause of the bad emotions, which is like almost like delusional, really, when you say that out loud. Yeah. That's how it feels.
Definitely. Anxiety when someone is like slightly off with you, which is what we're kind of just talking about. Yeah. Just having anxiety when you're like, oh, they didn't say that word the same the way they usually do, which again is an intense attention to detail that only probably autistic people even have. Rehearsing conversations in your head, apologising constantly, like we've mentioned 2 weeks ago.
We've got that chronically,
chronic.
It was way worse back in the day.
Yeah,
but
definitely. I actually still, to be honest, struggle with boundaries. Like I'm unmasking, I think, in a way, and I will say, in the last 12 months, I think I've finally come back to who I am in some ways. I feel like I'm expressing myself more than ever. Like I'm doing things that make me happy and not what I think I should be doing. But I still struggle to set boundaries. Yeah. The word no, it's like it doesn't come out of my mouth. Like I'm just like, I can't even say no to you.
No.
Like I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Oh yeah, I could. I can't, for some reason, no is just scary to me. Yeah. And it's all, again, this is all fear-based. Like the masking and the people-pleasing, it's all fear-based. And is not coming from a place of...
It's self-protection of rejection.
Yeah, the reason I don't like setting boundaries is because it triggers my RSD, it triggers my fear of conflict, it just triggers my emotional dysregulation. Like, I'd rather, in the moment, appease, I think. But this is all subconscious too, by the way. I'm not in the moment I'm going to say this. I'm just reacting and going off instinct.
It's a survival instinct.
And because of, like, going off survival my whole life and kind of reacting to everyone else, I don't even know really anymore how to trust my own gut.
Yes.
Like I think I've lost my ability to trust my instinct in some ways, because I'm always ignoring and pushing down that initial instinct and going, what should I do? But again, this all happens within a split second. It's all subconscious. So that's why I personally have never liked setting boundaries, even though I didn't even know what boundaries really were. I never wanted to put anyone else out. And I think a lot of it comes from wanting to shrink myself as small as possible so I do go unnoticed.
Or like people like you.
Yeah, exactly. Are you finding that you're getting better at setting boundaries since diagnosis, or are you still struggling with the boundary side of stuff?
I definitely still struggle. I think I've gotten better. Maybe it's with age, and I definitely think it's medication. But I still have that instinct in the moment that's subconscious, that's uncontrollable. I would say the fluoxetine helps a lot. It makes me just not care as much, honestly. People say it numbs them, and some people don't like that. I think it numbs me, but not in a bad way. It numbs that like extreme, visceral, like
voice and in your head.
Yeah, it just makes me not really think about other people's feelings as much. Yeah, they sound so bad, but like
we were too much.
We were too much. It's definitely like leveled that out a little bit.
Yeah,
it's
that's good.
Because I guess it's the number one meds for OCD, which, like we said, I'm not been diagnosed with that, but I have tendencies with obsessive overthinking and ruminating, and so I'll constantly think about how other people felt, how I said something and they interpreted it not the way I meant, and then I'll think about that for the rest of the day and like panic about it.
Yeah, so would I. I think fluoxetine's helped me too, in the way of just not overthinking things too much. Are there any things you do or you've started doing in the last few years that help make boundaries with people? Like, are there sentences you use? Are there any little strategies you use? You ever think, I'll go first. I think the only thing I've really started doing is I always buy myself more time.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. So I'll be like, I'll think about it, or can I get back to you tomorrow? Or, and again, I'm just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah. But you have time to like come up with a response.
Yeah. Instead of just, because the other thing is that I might wake up tomorrow and go, no, yeah, I actually am keen for that. But sometimes I don't even know if I'm keen for it or not. Like, I don't even know what I want or what I feel like. So delaying it is not just delaying me having to say no. Sometimes it's actually me delaying saying yes, because sometimes I might realize that yesterday I was just in a shitty mood and I didn't actually feel like doing it yesterday, but tomorrow I might. So I think I buy myself time. Like, I can't decide right now. Would you mind if I decide tomorrow? So giving people time buffers can be helpful. And I'd probably say that, I wouldn't say this is boundary setting, but I've started accommodating my own sensory needs a bit more. Like, I bought some Loop earplugs. That's something that I can just do kind of privately to myself. And I might tell people around me I'm wearing them just in case I don't hear them. But yeah, do you have any that you think you've implemented, or are you still working on it? Because I'm still working on it.
I guess I haven't really done that. I think I still say yes to everyone.
I
think I do. Even when it comes to like work, I say yes because I have this fear of like people leaving, I think, or like, I don't know.
Yeah.
When I say that, leaving in relationships, friendships, but also work-wise, like I need to look after this client, because even though I'm already reamed, like it's like a scarcity mindset of like, I'm going to lose. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know. Sometimes
I say yes to everything, honestly. And I have this like ingrained need to help people, which is like, it's like I always think of the Friends quote by Joey. Wait.
Yeah, it's Phoebe, I think.
Phoebe, where she's like, no good deed is like fully a good deed.
Selfless.
It's completely selfish. It's selfish in a way, because it's like, and I kind of get it, because it's like, I'm doing that because I'm scared and it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So no, I still say yes to everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to help people when they're in need.
Yeah.
I think I'm acts of service type of person.
Yeah, like you get a bit of your value from that and your self-worth from that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But yes, then I get exhausted and burnt out. But no, I guess I haven't really implemented anything. I still kind of have that response of like, their needs come before me. So if they're asking something from me, of course I'll make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's frustrating because I see you say yes to things as your sister. Because it's the other thing. I'm happy to set boundaries for you. Yeah. But I'm not happy to set boundaries for me. Yeah, I will stand up for anyone else if they need a boundary set, or if I think they're over committing to something, I will step in. But as soon as it's about me, I cannot do it. I can stand up for anyone but myself.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So no, I need to start buying more time, and even when I don't know. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Could I just say, what were you going to say? I know you said a few things of like how this can show up in life, but can I just read a little list here? Saying yes when you're exhausted because fear of disappointing someone or seen as unreliable. That's also another fear, because I'm a perfectionist. I will not be seen as the person that didn't step up when they asked me, or didn't do this, or like over-explaining or over-apologizing or apologizing excessively, trying to soften the blow of having needs. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Like when I set like a neutral boundary, which I like is not even like I just say like if someone asks me to go get coffee or something and I'm like, oh, like I can't, like blah, blah, blah. I'm sick. No. I feel like I've like really, like I feel like a horrible person.
So do I. I feel guilty for the rest of the day.
Yeah. No, and then feeling guilty for resting. Your brain says, if I'm not constantly proving myself, people will leave. Yep.
Yeah.
Avoiding difficult conversations. Yep. Even when you know you're being mistreated. Yeah. Shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Yeah, we just talked about that. Tone policing yourself. Masking your reactions, suppressing your needs, and being the therapist's friend, because it's easier to help others than to take up emotional space yourself. That's what you're chronic for.
That's me, far out. That's been me my whole life. I was counselling year 13s in year 11. Like, it was, I was very much like that.
Yeah, why your boundaries feel impossible, your needs feel inconvenient.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. And this is the thing, that's not an autistic or an ADHD or an OCD trait. But it's a result of years of trauma of having these conditions and often not even knowing you have them. Yeah. But even if you did know, you're still going to have probably this trauma.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff we've been talking about recently, like perfectionism and masking and all that, they're not necessarily traits of autism or ADHD. These are manifestations that run off commonly
Yeah.
for AuDHDers and neurodivergent people because of the trauma we go through, constantly suppressing ourselves and our needs. And then you end up with like your identity out of like not intact, and you don't even know what you want. And you feel a resentment for people, and you don't realize it.
Yes, and typically people like us, generally speaking, are huge empaths, right? And people like that tend to attract, I shouldn't use the N word, narcissistic people, because not everyone has narcissistic disorder.
No.
But people that are quite happy to be a bit more selfish and take from others without thinking about their needs. Okay, so not narcissistic, that's completely like a different term, but we tend to like attract people that siphon our energy from us.
Definitely.
And I've had that happen to me a few times actually.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's happened a few times to certain people, and I fawn in the moment, don't realize what's happening.
Yeah.
And then not until later, and a lot of resentment then builds, and I'm exhausted, and I get burnt out from like other people exploiting my energy and my kindness.
Yeah. And then the line gets pushed so far that you don't even know where the line is anymore.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. And then because they've been conditioned that that's how I am and they get that from me, if you do start to set boundaries, which is really hard to do, but you do, it's like they kick you to the curb because you don't give them anything anymore.
Yeah. And it's like, what the hell? Like, why did Paige go weird on me?
Yeah. Why did she go weird on me? It's like, I'm actually just doing nothing. I'm actually just pulling my energy back and looking after myself, which I haven't done for so long, but it seems like a punishment to you because you've siphoned me for so long.
Yeah.
And yes, that's on me too because I've let that happen.
Yeah.
I'm not just blaming the other person, but I'm just saying we typically, attract these people that are like this because we are giving, and selfish people, they say when you go to pick a flower, which one do you pick? The prettiest one.
Yeah.
And when I say pretty, I mean like energy wise and like kindness. It's like,
yeah. No, yeah, it's rough when you start realizing that, wow, people only were maybe valuing me because of what I may have been giving them.
Yeah. And when you're actually in need or when you're sick or when you're you kind of go like, wow, they're not there for me like I was. But like, you can't think like that though because like you'll just end up living your life so disappointed because people like us who are so like aware of other people's feelings, like people just aren't like us.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's I've noticed that in my whole life. A lot of my friendships, and I still love a lot of my friends. This is not anti them, but some of the friendships I've had in the past have been more of a service to them. But I didn't realize it at the time. I thought we had a very mutual friendship with equal effort. But then upon reflection, they weren't always that way. And sometimes I'd find that I would go and hang out with people, and I'd always be drained afterwards with a lot of people. And I just kind of assumed that was normal, but I don't actually think it is. And I think a lot of the time I was going and charging their battery and draining mine.
Well, that's why. Well, I'm not saying that's why you were so light because you are an amazing person, but I think like to an extent, like people love you because they feel so filled with life after hanging out with you, and then you leave feeling fucking exhausted.
Yeah, and not knowing who I am.
And not knowing,
No, exactly. I always go into every interaction wherever I go, wanting the other person to feel better than they did when they saw me, before they saw me. But sometimes I can take that to the next level, maybe a bit too much. And when I was younger, I definitely did this. I'm more aware of it now. But yeah, this response, this whole fawning and people-pleasing thing, it's all linked to the masking, and it's all a trauma response of not feeling like you belong in society. Yeah. And it becomes so subconscious that it's so hard to undo.
Yeah.
So hard to undo.
Well, if you don't even know you're doing it really, because you need to know you're doing it, and then that's one thing, and then trying to like combat it in the moment is so hard because it's literally a learned survival response. Yeah, it's really hard.
It is, and then you end up burnt out, exhausted, and sometimes you don't. I think a lot of my burnout came in the past from these interpersonal relationships, but I didn't realize it at the time. I don't realize that day by day I'm getting drained, slowly getting drained, and then it just all of a sudden hits me, and I've got autistic burnout, and I don't even realize that some of those things were probably even just like constant overstimulation at work. It all builds slowly in the background until you just like all of a sudden lose it, and you're just exhausted. And now I feel, in terms of boundaries, I'm scared to set boundaries because I've never really done it. Yeah. So I don't want people to think now like, far out, Ellie went all like, where?
This is the problem. You've done it for so long, or like people have done it for so long. It's like, we used to talk about this with Zoe, our beautiful friend.
Love Zoe.
Yeah, and like how, because you show up in a certain way, you two in particular, people notice, like, I mean, I was just saying that I do that I go, wait, why have they? So I'm like guilty of it. But, you know, people will say like, oh, what's wrong with Ellie? Like, why is she all of a sudden, she's a bit down. It's like, no, I'm actually just like not giving so much to everyone else around me for once. Like I'm actually just neutral. But because people have been trained to like expect that from you, it's like, and that's why it's also so hard, because you're worried about people, noticing such a drastic difference.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. I would always as well, like, never snap. And then sometimes something can just snap me. And then I always look like, I'm always really embarrassed with how I look, because I'm like, oh my God, I look like such an asshole after never really being a bit of an asshole. Yeah. I was just also going to say, like, I feel like I always find a way to bring this into it, but honestly, it affects our lives so much as women. The menstrual cycle, the reason why I do love the menstrual cycle, I don't like how it makes me feel, but even though it is scary in the moment, my like tolerance just completely like goes. And I honestly think like it's kind of a good thing, because it kind of, that period power book that you read talks about how that phase where you're feeling like that, it kind of makes you realize what's not serving you and what you need to cut out or what you need to set boundaries with. And I agree with that. But then I guess you come out of it and then I just overthink the last week of like, oh shit, I stood up for that and I shouldn't have. And because, you know, you're in your follicular phase and you're like, woohoo, life's all good. Why was I mad? Yeah. So like, it's like, but then it's confusing because you're beating yourself up going, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. But it is kind of good because it kind of just makes you what am I saying? Like, I don't know.
You remember the book?
Yeah.
It makes you reevaluate things in your life that.
Yeah, when you're in your luteal bit.
Yeah, of like what you shouldn't tolerate.
Yeah. It's actually a really good book. You should definitely read it if you have a period. It's great. But it is confusing, especially when you've got PMDD, because you go from one extreme to the other every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. And I feel bad about how I reacted over something and like when I wasn't feeling so good, but then maybe I should have reacted that way because they overstepped a boundary or something.
Exactly.
But it's confusing.
It is. This is why as well, like people who are autistic or ADHD, but I think particularly autistic, are more prone to exploitation, abusive relationships, manipulation in relationships, and I think trauma and abuse is quite highly correlated with neurodivergent people because they lack the boundaries sometimes.
Being a people pleaser as well, just on this like on the abuse thing, when it comes to SEX, I've been asked, and this is like the whole coercion thing, I've been asked 7 or 8 times. I mean, I guess they're asking me. Good on you. At least I'm saying no, I don't want to. And I've been asked 10 times that you get to a point, which also is pretty big that I'm even saying no, that you go, the only way to get around this is just to let them do it so they can shut the F up.
And that is assault, by the way. Yeah. If this has ever happened to you and you've been asked multiple times to do something you're uncomfortable with, you don't want to do, you're not ready for in the bedroom when it comes to that kind of thing, and you've been asked 10 times and then you gave in, that is actually harassment and assault. Yeah. You have not been giving
It's manipulation, coercion, and that's not consent. So just remember that if you're listening to this. I know it's hard, but that's definitely happened to me multiple times.
Me too. I've been coerced. And actually other times I've just been blatantly coerced.
Oh, yeah, no. And I think both of us have been assaulted.
Yes.
Just straight off the bat, not even asking. I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this experience, but we never talk about it because who's going to listen to us, really? No one listens. No. And like every woman has a story, at least one story.
Which is
but then
so sad.
Apparently no man knows any man that's done such things. Yeah. But anyway.
It's crazy, but this is another area where the lack of boundaries and people pleasing can really manifest, and especially if you haven't had like many relationships as a teenager or a young adult, then you finally maybe get one and it's all exciting. We have a tendency to appease probably more than we're actually comfortable with because we just want to at least keep the connection,
and you want to be approved of. You want to feel
exactly. So if you've ever you should never feel any pressure or resentment, even in your relationships when it comes to in the bedroom. You should never feel any resentment, I should just do it. That's still technically coercion.
Oh yeah, I've been in that situation as well where I feel like, I should do this and I should do that because he's my boyfriend and I haven't done it in X amount of weeks or days, or it's not all good.
No, it's not. And you don't have to. People have different sex drives and it's okay. But just know that if you've been asked multiple times to do something and then you've had to give in, that's coercion. That is abuse, in my opinion. That's not respecting boundaries.
It's manipulation.
Yeah.
To the fucking nines, bro.
Yeah. Sorry if this has been triggering to anyone, and hopefully it has maybe given you clarity more than anything.
And confidence to be able to have us standing behind you in your head, and if that's ever happening to you, to know that is wrong, and don't gaslight yourself, because your instinct is right. It knows that it's not right. Listen to that. Yeah, 100%. And one of my favourite quotes from the Olsen twins, who are two of my favourite gals ever. I looked up to them so much when I was a child, but one of my favourite sentences from them is, no is a full sentence. Yeah. You can just say no, and that's okay. And I still struggle with this in anything, just saying no. Yeah. But it is actually a full sentence, and you don't need to over-explain why you're saying no. Yeah. This is very easy for us to say because we're still not great at this, but we're saying this from years of our own issues. Please remember that no is a full sentence, and you can say no to anything and anyone. Respect your boundaries, and even just come back to yourself and try and learn about your needs so that you can set boundaries. Because one of the main issues actually here is that we don't know what our needs are. They've been suppressed for so long that how are we supposed to set boundaries when we don't even know what we need? Yeah. It's really, really hard to unpack. It's tough, yeah. So yeah, we're here. We're here to listen. Hang out in the Reddit, hang out in the Discord if you want to chat about this particular subject. And if you do want to maybe look into, no obligations to do so if you sign up, but if you're interested in having a little session with me, there will be a small fee obviously for my time, but sign up at the link in the bio and in our link tree, and I'll be keen to maybe start doing, there'll just be Zoom online, you don't have to actually see me in person, it's just online, we can even have cameras off, whatever you want. I'd love to meet some of you and talk you through some of your processes or whatever you're going through. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Paige, to the end of this episode? I'm just reading some points here, and I just relate to these so hard. RSD makes disappointment feel painful. Mm-hmm. When I feel like I've let someone down, even in the slightest way, I feel, it's painful.
No, I feel sick. I've got a knot in my stomach, and I actually feel like shit for the rest of the day. Yeah. Yeah.
Masking teaches you to keep others comfortable. We've talked about that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just... And boundaries feel unsafe because they make you visible.
Yeah, that's it, eh? I've always wanted to be invisible my whole life. Yeah. I hate the attention, but love the spotlight. So I love performing. I love, singing for people, but I don't like attention. Mm-hmm. And I tried my hardest to remain anonymous, actually, in many, many rooms in my life.
Yeah. But even when I know in the moment when something is wrong, say I know I should set the boundary, I still don't.
I know.
So there's times when I just don't know how I feel, therefore, but I still say yes. But then there's moments where I know the right answer here because it's so blatant, but I still won't because
same, because I'm
so
fear
tough.
Of conflict. Yeah, totally.
And I also think I think I have this chronic thing of seeing the good in people. So my brain will always manipulate a situation to make me feel they're just blah, blah, blah.
Give them grace.
Oh, they've just been through this. And so, they probably just feel they don't mean to hurt me. They don't mean to da-da-da-da-da.
We're chronic for that.
And so, I see the good in people too often. And now I think I've finally got to the point at 31 years old nearly that I've been burnt X amount of times to maybe not trust people so quickly because I do. Because I expect people to be like me, which is just...
That's autistic, black and white thinking.
Yeah, I expect them to be honest and not want to hurt people, and so then I impose that on others because I think that that's just what humans do,
Yeah, totally.
And now I've realised I trust way too easily. That's with anyone.
Which is sad. Shouldn't even be a thing. But
well, you would say to me, you need to be a bit more cynical than neutral.
Sometimes,
yeah. And I agree. And it's taken me this long now to finally realise. It's sad that I've had to be pushed to that point, but just to keep yourself safe, I think. I've realised now that I just shouldn't take people for face value.
Yeah.
And until they've proven their worth, or not worth, sorry, that I can trust them. Yeah. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's hard. It's a work in progress. Paige and I are still working on it. We're no experts, but we just thought we'd talk about this today because it's definitely something we battle with every single day. Mm-hmm. And it can be very lonely as well. because you feel like no one really knows how you feel. You're not really sharing exactly how you feel.
You would always watch me sit on emails to people for like an hour at a time and be so stressed about it because I'd have to like try and set a boundary.
Yeah. The only way to help boundaries and masking and people pleasing is to just do it once and then do it again and like say no and then say no again. And then each time, hopefully the no is easier to say than it was the first time. But it is. It's so hard because it's all fear-based. Remember, this all comes back down to just fear. And so when you're working and acting out of fear, it is so hard to overwrite that fear. Like, it really, really is. That's why recognizing it, first of all, is important. Then you can build the building blocks to get through it.
Yeah.
And also just coming up with Christmas, this is a time where it's really tough, I think, for neurodivergent people, setting boundaries, overload, sensory overload, blah, blah, blah. So don't push, just try not to push yourself this Christmas and New Year. Like, if you can't do 5 hours of family, see if you can just do 2. Come for the first half of it. Ask people if they'd mind if you went to the room even for an hour. You know, really try and enjoy this time by telling people what you need. Easier said than done. But we're thinking to people over the holiday season because it's quite intense.
Yeah.
Very
Cheers.
intense. But thanks for listening. Let us know if you have any questions or any comments on this episode. Let us know if you've dealt with this, how you've combated it, if you've done it. And yeah, links in the bio if you do want to sign up to potentially have a session with me next year and join our Discord and our Reddit, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.